Hello, people. How are you doing? I hope you're doing fine, you're doing great. Today in our class, we will talk about a subject that it's um, related to a high level of proficiency in English language. Is the question tag or the tag question? You can hear both names. But first of all, let's get some examples. So here, first beforehand, um, tag questions, the main use of tag question is to make a short question uh, that we could say it's a rhetoric question because it's a question you do that probably you know the answer. So we have here the first example. You haven't seen this film, have you? So in this situation, the person who is speaking imagines that the listener uh, haven't seen the film, right? So the affirmative sentence before the question sentence is the information you think is right. So your sister lives in Spain, doesn't she? He can drive, can he? And for example, the first example, the sentence is in the present perfect. So to do the question tag, you have to pay attention to the tense. So in this case, use the verb to have. You see the second sentence is in the simple present, and you don't have auxiliary verb. But when you do the tag question, you have to use the doesn't. And he can't drive, can he? You just use the verb to can in the negative. Um, So here we have the examples. We can add question tags like isn't it, can you, did they, to a statement to make it into a question. Question tags are more common in speaking than write, so uh, it's more related to informal English than to formal English in this sentence. We often use question tags when we expect the listener to agree with our statement. So this is the mindset behind the question tag. You imagine that the listener will agree or you say, and will confirm that it's right what you say. In this case, when the statement is positive, we use a negative question tag. She's a doctor, isn't she? As you see the picture of this doctor here, a woman, a female doctor. Yesterday was so much fun, wasn't it? So you see, wasn't it? And yesterday, the pronoun is associated to the subject. So yesterday is a time, a moment in time. So you can use the pronoun it. In the other hand, if the statement is negative, we use a positive question tag. The trains are never on time, are they? Nobody has called me for me, have they? And pay attention, to be a negative statement, it doesn't need to have no or not only. You can have never, nobody, no one, nothing. So words, terms that are related to negativity. All right. If there is an auxiliary verb in the statement, we use it to form the question tag. So if you have the sentence, the question tag uh, is made by the auxiliary verb if there is one there. I don't need to finish this work, do I? So don't becomes do and you invert with the subject. James is work on that, isn't he? So James is a man, so he is the pronoun associated to him. Your parents have retired, haven't they? haven't they? So they is related to your parents, and have become haven't. The phone didn't ring, did it? So here we have a picture of this beautiful phone. Uh, so is the negative sentence, so the question tag is affirmative question tag. And phone is a thing, so the pronoun related to it is it. It was raining that day, wasn't it? So the same, you have it, and it was become wasn't. Your mom hadn't met him before, had she? The same thing here. This last one is the past perfect, and then you have to use the auxiliary verb to do the question tag. Sometimes there is no auxiliary verb already in the statement. For example, when the verb in the statement is present simple or past simple and is positive. Here we use don't, doesn't, or didn't. So Jenny eats cheese, doesn't she? So you see, in the affirmative statement, you don't have an auxiliary verb. But when you're gonna do the question tag, you use the auxiliary verb in this case in the negative, in the present simple. I said that already, didn't I? So in this case, you have said is the past for the verb to say. So in this case, you use the question tag formed by the did in the negative form, didn't I? The verb in the statements to be in the simple present or past simple. In this case, we use to be to make the question tag. So in this case, the bus stop is over there, isn't it? So stop is the contract form. No one of those customers were happy, were they? So in this case, you have a negative because none of those customers. So it's a very interesting case because it can be a bit confused sometimes because but pay attention that negative statements not necessarily need to have a negative word like not or no. It can have a pronoun, indefinitive pronoun, as in this situation here. The verb in the statement is a modal verb. Here we use the modal verb to make the question tag. So they could hear me, couldn't they? So the statement is affirmative, so the question is negative. You won't tell anyone, will you? So here also in this case the first statement is negative, so the question tag is affirmative. So it's always the opposite of the statement of the first statement. If the main verb or auxiliary verb in the statement is am, the positive question tag is am I, but the negative question tag is usually aren't I. So you see, there's a very specific rule here about question tag in the first person with the verb to be. I'm never on time, am I? So I'm never, it never is a negative word. So the question tag is affirmative. I'm going to get an email with the details, aren't I? So in this case, it's a affirmative statement. So the question tag is negative and inverted as always. And here we have the icon for the Gmail, one of the most used types of email accounts around the world. And here we have a short uh, cartoon of Snoopy. And as you can see here, Charlie Brown is Snoopy's um, partner, I could say, because who has dogs? They are not our, they are kind of friends in a way. So Charlie Brown comes and screams, "Supper time! Super time!" So when it says super time, it means uh, uh, is related to kind of dinner in a way. Have something to eat before dinner, maybe. Looks pretty good, doesn't it? So you see here, he's using the question tag. So the first statement is affirmative, so the question tag is negative. And you see the structure is not complete because looks pretty good, doesn't it? It doesn't say it looks pretty good or the food looks pretty good, but we can understand for the context too. And then Snoop looked to the food and say, actually, it looked better from a distance. So sometimes some type of food is better just to watch from a distance. All right, people. So this is the class for today. I hope you like it and see you later. Bye bye.